Okay, welcome to the daily strategy session here at Inside Real Estate. We do these a couple times a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Today I was hoping to talk a little bit about Craigslist. There was an interesting post in the Facebook group, and as always, we'll be recording this and posting it to insiderealestate.com/webinars. It's the day after the elections if you're watching this on the recording, and somebody's asking me who I'm rooting for in the race, and I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. It's like business and politics. And it's an interesting thing. I figured I'd talk about it just for a second. And I know some people are really comfortable talking politics on their Facebook streams and other social media, and some stay away from it as a business practice. And it's an interesting thing. Like it could go either way, right? You're either going to repel people who disagree with you and attract people who do agree with you, maybe. But for me, it just feels too risky. I don't know. Even if subconsciously, just turning people away publicly like that, by posting anything related, having an opinion. Maybe it's wussiness on my part. You guys can comment and call me a wuss, but it just seems like if you're trying to build a business and you have a sphere of influence on social, and you're doing the kind of attraction marketing we're talking about, it's just not worth it. It's too risky. I mean, at home and with friends and stuff, sure, but yeah, no politics, right? Yep. So, but that's it. Like, there are people I take note, even if subconsciously, like, wow, they're really ranting over there. Like, are they stable? Like, no matter what I think of what they're saying, on both sides of the aisle. So anyway, let's get to better stuff here, more productive things here. The world is gonna run whether we do this or not. And we still have to sell real estate. So let's get going. So what I was hoping to talk about today, I asked Ernest to come on. You there, man? Let's see if I can hear you.
Yep, I'm here. You can hear me, right?
Yep. So great. Yeah, I asked Ernest to come on because we had a post in here in the Facebook group about Craigslist. And somebody said, hey, anyone using Craigslist to post listings, what success do you have? And there were 50 comments. And the comments themselves, Ernest, they cracked me up because there were a lot of people just saying, oh, there's lots of scams. Don't use that. And to me, that was a signal still that there's opportunity there because a lot of the agents have left using this source where a lot of people are still actively searching. What's your take on that? Do you use Craigslist?
I don't use Craigslist too much anymore. I used to be a little bit more dominant on it. With the KVC whole Craigslist extension tool and stuff like that. I mean, it's almost a no-brainer that you would still post on there every single day, using that just to kind of get your listings refreshed to the top of those pages. But what I've found them really good with is for like text codes and stuff like that. And that's where you're going to get a lot of the people saying, hey, there's scammers, you'll get weird numbers texting you. But ideally, I mean, there's still some validity in that source in the fact that, people still search on Craigslist.
Yeah, they still do. We've done webinars in the past, about ways that you can divert traffic off of Craigslist and best practices for posting. And rather than do that again, because I think I've done it like 5 times over the last 5 years, like once a year we get around to it. I'll post this to everybody watching live. But I thought it'd be cool, Ernest, if we went ahead and talked about what kind of is functioning as the new Craigslist and, filling that void is kind of Facebook Marketplace, right?
Right. Yeah. Like Facebook Marketplace is filling in so that you get to kind of see and you can do some Facebook stalking, as I like to put it. I know I'm guilty of it, seeing who I'm working with, who I'm meeting. I absolutely love the validation that KV Core runs as well on leads. That gives you kind of social media references if they've used that email address as a login for their Facebook. But just some really kind of good practices to maybe steer away from Craigslist if you're concerned about, the type of buyer or who you're going to get coming through as a lead. With Facebook, they're going to have a Facebook profile. So you kind of reduce the factor of, getting those spam, getting people who are going to be like tire kickers, and you could actually vet them a little bit better or see who you're working with through Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah. That's a really good point that I wasn't even considering, is that there's a level of transparency with everybody you interact with there. And like you said, from a lead generation perspective, you can kind of do a little research on who's replying yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. And with Facebook Marketplace, I haven't really dove too big into it. I'm not sure if you have or not. I mean, I've done a couple posts on Facebook Marketplace, nothing too drastic, or really haven't, dove knee deep into it yet. But kind of what I've gathered from it is, you're going to get messages about your products that you have for sale, like your houses or listings that you have for sale. The only reason why I haven't really dove knee deep into it is that I'm an automation guy. You know me, if I can automate it and have it sent into my platform, I'm all for it, so that I'm not, spending a bunch of time making calls or transferring data. So that's really kind of been the only factor in which has steered me away from Facebook Marketplace. Is it's going to be a manual follow up to messages. It's going to be a manual input of getting that data that you're collecting from Facebook Marketplace into KV Core.
So I think there's opportunity there too, because if you can process this out, and you know that most agents aren't going to be consistent about going and manually doing all this. So if you have an assistant or somebody or a VA who can do it, I guess an assistant, they would need to use their own Facebook profile in your local market, right?
Correct. Yeah.
But if you're a team leader or you have a brokerage or a lot of inventory, then you could have somebody post consistently, and other people probably aren't. And there is a lot of traffic, right? My wife shows me a house on Facebook Marketplace almost every day of the week. So
yeah, you can get a ton of views. I think the one that I posted, I maybe had like 15 or 16 replies to it.
yeah.
The nice thing about Facebook Marketplace is that the people are actually replying to it. They're not like clicking on it to, get more photos and capturing information. It's there for them to preview. So the types of questions that I was getting is, what's a mortgage payment look like on this house for sale at 260, or, what do I need to qualify for this house? So you'll get a little bit more qualified leads coming through Facebook Marketplace, being that they're actually initiating that conversation with you.
Great. So what I'm doing on the screen here is I'm just kind of cheating. I'm just grabbing some listing images of a local listing at Forever Florida here locally. And I'm just going to walk through, for anybody who hasn't done it, I've never done this. And that's why I asked you to come on. It seems easy enough, but let's post a listing. And I think I have some ideas along the way, similar to some of the hacks that we do with Craigslist for how to punch this up. So let's post.
And a good item on there too for Facebook Marketplace is, text codes, using the ability for your smart number and text codes in your description. Ultimately, you're going to try and get a reply out of them, though, and those replies will, come in. The nice thing about it, too, is you get to manage and see how many people have viewed your actual listing. So similar to how you can see how many people viewed a property on your website, you'll be able to see how many people have actually gone through and viewed that listing on Facebook Marketplace.
Very cool. So I'm just going to keep going here. If this is pretty straightforward, just like entering a property anywhere else. It's a 5.4. Get my price in. 1.75. All right. Put the address in. I love the image upload. That was super easy. They let you do multiple at one time. So
yeah, that's pretty sleek, I think, as well. One of the cool things that I've found very interesting about Facebook Marketplace, and I don't know if you've seen this or not, but there's a lot of agents that are pretty listing heavy or dominant in our area that do this in Facebook Marketplace. But they also run sponsored ads, and with sponsored ads on Facebook, you could have them appear in Facebook Marketplace as well, right? So you could basically just open the floodgates and have all your listings on Facebook Marketplace, have your advertisement at the top as like a banner on Facebook Marketplace, and it really just kind of goes consistent with branding and making you stand out as like the market expert.
Awesome. So it says here you can list in multiple places. You can put it in different groups, which is really cool. Was there anywhere, I didn't notice, is there anywhere that you need to designate that you're a licensee who's posting this? Or I guess compliance stuff would be good to include in the ad, right?
Yeah, compliance would be in the description. Normally toss your license number or something like that onto it, or something along those lines.
All right, well, I'll hit publish here real quick. And then you'll have sort of your listings page for Marketplace. And then you can go back and edit. I'm not going to leave this line live for long. I haven't talked to the listing agent about it, but that's pretty easy to do. Now, I had this kind of process that I exercise that I walk through, Ernest, when I do Craigslist ads, where I keep a photo and do some other things to generate leads. So the first one you mentioned might be something like the text code, right? So you can embed in the messaging of the ad some calls to action. So I'm going to go, I thought I was logged into KV Core. I'm going to have to jump over it. It's KV Core. But you definitely, a best practice would either be to put a URL or a text code in there. So I'm going to go to Lead Engine, call capture, And then I have one here for my deals right here. So I'll say text deals to this number. So definitely, if you can, maybe keep this snippet on your computer somewhere. Text whenever you're doing Craigslist or Facebook Market, deals to for a complete current list of foreclosures, fixers, and other deals in Pinellas County. And then
Yeah, and
go ahead.
I like that they have allow for long descriptions. That's the other perk to that as well on the Facebook Marketplace is you could have a long text description on there.
Yeah. So I'm going to grab my Pilly app here. I want to kind of make this stick out, and I hope it works with my Marketplace posting. This is a link I like to use a lot. I'll share it to everybody. It's just Pilly app, Facebook symbols, if you Google that. And then we'll do some, get my right arrow. I know this takes a little minute, but you can always just save this call to action and just reuse it over and over again. So you make it this one time and then keep it somewhere in a file, on a notepad, text editor or something. Hopefully that'll work. If not, it made it cool and black, but it kind of separates it out, right? And then, so you can do the call to action there, then put it at the end. So you're taking the free eyeballs, so even if somebody doesn't reply about the listing, they can go over to, they can engage with you. Now, Ernest, do you know if you're allowed to put URLs in the description?
You can, but they're not going to be clickable. So it'll be like a copy and paste this URL into your browser type deal.
Visit 727realestatedeals.com or text. So in case you guys don't know, this is like my example of a core landing page. Visit 727. Right, like that. I wonder if this will save with my arrows. I'm going to hit update. Like if they'll turn into the colored arrows there. The listing is being reviewed. Okay, so that's like Facebook. I mean, Craigslist kind of can ghost or review. It looks like there's a manual review process.
Yeah.
Is it bots or does a human do it?
I think it's bots, and they just make sure that you're not, to my knowledge, is RESPA and CFPB. So like steering, redlining, or doing anything like that.
Gotcha. Now, let's see. For everybody watching now, I'm going to learn if this gets denied because I'm doing these calls to actions, we'll know, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know for sure that they allow it. Craigslist at one point kind of got a little tighter on this stuff. So I got some old things in my canvas here. Let me get rid of these. There's Joe asking me about my TPS reports. So let's take this call to action now. I want to make an image, one of these tricks, and I want to make an image that does the call to action too. So why can't I copy that? There we go. Copy it here. So as they're scrolling through the image, they're also able to engage with this idea. This. So, have you ever done this, Ernest? Do you have one of these kind of image call to actions handy?
I don't. I mean, I'm more of a squeeze page guy than anything. I like driving traffic through squeeze pages. I've messed around with the landing pages, but for the most part, what I've done with landing pages is like download your free buyer, download your free seller type guide, advertisements with those. But
cool. So I'm just going to make this big, ugly kind of image here. It's gimmicky, but every little thing counts, and it's not hard to keep one of these nearby. So I'm just going to use kind of colors in my text. Now I could add an image to this. And what I'll do is I'll use my Lightshot Screenshot, my favorite screenshotting app, and I'll turn this into an image like this. So I'm going to screenshot, then I'll draw some arrows. Boom. We'll ugly it up a little. and then I'll save this deals image to my desktop. And then when I'm posting on Craigslist, or in this case, Facebook Marketplace, I can include this picture. So I'm going to add that photo. Now, again, I know Craigslist, you can still you can do this on Craigslist still. The last few times I've done it, it's been fine. As far as I know, you'll be okay. But the idea here is that somebody is looking at this $1 million home here. Let's go back to it. They're scrolling through the pictures, and then they get to the center, like, oh, what's this? So even if they weren't really in the price range for the $1 million, they're like, oh, this is interesting. And then they go to the website, you know, and then they can opt in and become a lead. So I don't know. Any other ideas come to mind, Ernest? Anybody else who's watching, you know, ways to hack up a Craigslist marketplace listing? Not too complicated, but I think if you do this on a consistent basis, almost every day, with some listing of some sort, you can pull some leads out of this, is my theory.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, Craigslist, I still post my my listings to there just because of the tool. It makes it so easily. Just quickly go in there, publish to Craigslist from KV Core listings.
Yeah.
Facebook Marketplace, again, just haven't really dove in deep, but I did see some success from it. It's just, when you're time constrained, it makes it very difficult to follow up with all the messages and everything that you're going to open the floodgates to with Facebook Marketplace.
So that's interesting. So you're going to get a bunch of messages, and the idea would be, you're saying that it opens up the floodgates, but that's kind of, the question is whether that activity fits your business. For some people, having conversations about real estate all day over Facebook might be ideal. Like that's a really good lead. Hey, a conversation about, hey, where'd you go to high school? You can kind of meet people and network that way.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Like talking to people, that's definitely the route to go, and it will generate you some qualified leads. The other kind of Facebook Marketplace ads that you can do, or this is just kind of free activities, is you can use it to like advertise your open houses and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So that it appears in Facebook Marketplace. People do search it, people do view those listings in there, so you can drive some traffic just by simply making the title open house.
Wonderful. I get it. Yeah. So you just do open house. And then for open house, I have this fixer uppers offer. You could do St. Pete open 727openhouselist.com.
Right.
So you could have an image like this and a landing page that offers a list, get a free week list of all the open houses in Pinellas County. And then you would put that image at the end of your listing and at the end of your descriptions as a way to generate leads. But yeah, the traffic is massive, right? It's really good free traffic.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get a lot of views on it. I mean, I know I've sold some like personal items on Facebook Marketplace that I needed to get rid of, and you end up with like 1,100, 1,200 views on things that you put on there. So just free exposure.
I think one of the reasons I've never used it for business, because literally Craigslist and Facebook are the bane of my existence, because every day my wife, we're buying something.
Yeah. Same.
Get rid of that thing. Why am I always buying? It's worse than Amazon.
We have a bad habit with like the little wood crafts that people put on there, like for the holidays. They make the autumn or fall like little turkey wood symbols or things that we go and buy. So we're pretty bad about being on Facebook Marketplace. Plus, it's just you have so ease of access to it that it's you're on it almost all the time.
Yeah, well, I'm not yet. I don't want to develop the habit. My daughter wanted me to drive like 45 minutes away to buy a $3 rug. But that was a nice conversation.
Well, now you can see how it would work with houses too, right? So.
Yep. So they have property rentals here in a category. I wonder if they have actual. They might just not be showing me that category yet.
The for sale.
Yeah.
It should be over on the categories on the left. If you scroll down, it should be at the bottom. It should say like homes for sale.
Got it.
So there you go.
So yeah, just to give you an idea. So a lot of competitors are doing this, and I wonder if Facebook doesn't ramp this up a little more in the future, moving forward. They have an opportunity to do something Zillow-like here.
Right. Yeah, and I think if you click on it, it might even show you how many people have viewed it or even saved it, because they can save these properties in there. Not 100% sure. I think I saw it somewhere on there.
Okay.
Unless it's one that maybe you've viewed and then they send you like a comparative saying, hey, like 5 more people have viewed this same listing.
Got it. Yeah, they have some filters. It's not bad, price and stuff. But yeah, they could really, if they wanted to, I'm sure they're thinking about it. I mean, they could really go Zillow route here, just because of the
Yeah.
eyeballs they have. Cool. Brett's just mentioning that he had a quote from Business Insider. Despite having essentially no advertising, promotion, or marketing, Craigslist manages to consistently rank in the top 20 websites. So, top 20 trafficked websites, people are still over there searching. Craigslist.org. And a good use. There are a lot of renters searching there. So there's all kinds of implications. If you know a lot of people are searching for their rentals over there, and you want to pull some, maybe with your lender, maybe get your lender to post every day, you could offer first-time buyer financing, things like that. Generally, you need to have a listing that goes along with it. But again, use those techniques to embed different calls to actions into the text and the images. It's a big takeaway. Cool. What else you got going on, Ernest? And everybody who's listening, just feel free to comment if you want us to talk about anything. Sorry, Ernest.
No, yeah, not much, but I just want to kind of throw this out there for anyone who might be like a newer agent or not as like a seasoned agent and have a big book of business. One of the things that I did personally to really kind of kickstart my business was I started this program called Pathway to Home Ownership. And basically what I did with that is I posted a bunch of rental ads, teamed up with a bunch of like apartment communities that would offer like, credits for sending renters to them. And basically just became like a mini apartment finder, but I knew where those people were, which allowed me to really market to them with postcards, stay up to date with them, so that when they were ready to buy, who they were actually calling. Right. It wasn't like
that was your market. It was a marketing funnel you built and gave it a name.
Basically. And I mean, you would make like $500 to $1,000 per like referral that you would send to these apartment communities in a commission. But essentially you built like this funnel where you knew where those renters were that were not yet ready to buy. Got
it. I mean, yeah, there's lots of, I know in some urban areas you can do fee rentals and make a good living, but even if you can't, there's not a lot of co-op rental listings in your market, as Ernest is talking about, or you can't work out deals, it's still probably a viable way to generate first-time buyer leads, is to just offer lists of rentals or something like Ernest was doing with a curated branded thing. Do you have any of those assets laying around still?
I might be able to round them up. I haven't really dealt with the first-time home buyer too much. I know my average price per sale is about $475 now, in a market where we're at about $280. So a lot of the stuff that I'm getting now is more like sell and buy. But I could see if I can round it up and maybe we can put some sort of program or some sort of training course in the program that we're going to put together and give people access to it. But I found that people like labels. Instead of being like, hey, are you a first-time home buyer? It's like, hey, check out this program that I built, even though it's, exactly what they already know. But they like labels like Pathway to Home Ownership, and just things like that. And you can use that for branding.
Definitely. Similar. I wonder if these guys are still doing this. HomestarGrant.org. A couple of guys at your company, we're doing a really cool thing. They're doing like a grant program. But basically it's just a lender and an agent partnering together, and they've like, again, it's a first time buyer thing, but it's an interesting angle to generate leads around the first time buyer idea. So you kind of had a similar site or offer to this, it sounds like.
Right. Yeah. We just called it Pathway to Home Ownership because a lot of the people that we had, normally we would get them applied to a lender so the lender could pull credit and see exactly what they needed to do and just kind of put like a little game plan together for them. And then lender kind of split, or the lender would split, some of the expenses, but we would set them up on postcard campaigns where we're dripping on them, newsletters, and just check in with them because we know how long or what they have to do, like pay this credit card down or do this, and this. And then, 6 months, you're going to be ready.
Interesting. You could become kind of you went at it from like the counseling, I get it, the pathway. So even people who weren't quite qualified yet, it's a really smart thing. You were incubating them till they were.
Exactly.
Yeah, really cool. We had a question from Sekou. Will KV Core be adding a Facebook Marketplace posting to our options on a listing? Issue there, we'd love to. Issue there is Facebook and their APIs. So they, as far as I know, Ernest, they don't offer a way for us to do that yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. So
there's other things that you can do with like posting to groups and stuff, just not to Marketplace yet.
Yeah, so they haven't created an easy way. I mean, I suppose, I don't know. Maybe we could, I wonder if we could do that the way we do with Craigslist, though. You know how we have the plugin, the Chrome extension?
You might be able to. We would just have to dive into
You
Facebook.
need to go build that, Ernest, okay? So just hang up and go
I'll
get
build
that.
it by tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess, I was going to say, hey, they don't have APIs, but truth is, neither does Craigslist. So, and we do it with Craigslist. So, yeah, I'll talk to Ernest and we'll talk to our product guys too and say, hey, that would be cool. Now, the problem with Facebook is they're going to change the darn thing every 2 weeks, like where everything displays, Ernest. We're going to have to constantly, but that's an issue on our end. We're going to have to constantly adjust it. But great idea. Now, if you can't, but the other solution, Seiko, you say you were late, is, use an admin, use a kid. Like my 12 and 15-year-old are bugging me for things they can do for work, So maybe you say, hey, this is, I'll give you 20 a week. You got to post all our office listings, every day. If you can find a reliable 12 or 15-year-old, but, use an admin or whoever. The trick with Facebook is you are going to need somebody who can be in your same kind of household, logging in as you, or somebody who you don't mind, who could do the messaging back and forth as you get replies. But, yep. So cool. Well, thanks for coming on, Ernest. I think this was fun. It's like one of those areas that I've never gotten on, but I feel like it's free and there's like high reward potential here if you can get consistency.
Yeah, I think we can explore it a little bit, maybe do some testing on it. Because I mean, there's probably a lot of people out there like, well, what if I don't have listings? How can I, leverage this?
Yeah, ask permission, right?
So, ask permission, ask your brokers, your, partners in your office if you can, display their listings, or maybe, I don't know, post something in there that's for buy, I guess, like what you have, that pictograph or whatnot, where you can post an image and say, hey,
yeah,
check this out.
I wonder if they would ban that, but this is a good new agent tip too. Go find a top producer with inventory. Go to your broker if you're at a small brokerage who's you only got 10 agents there and none of the other agents are doing this. Just go to your broker and say, or the team leader, and say, hey, I want to use Facebook Marketplace as my source of buyer leads. Do I have your permission to post all our team's listings there? And bam, like that, you've got inventory, right?
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, man, so many ways to skin a cat. It's overwhelming sometimes. Does anybody have anything else that you'd like me and Ernest to kind of check out? Do you have any ads you're running? Feel free to let us know. Otherwise, we can get going. I will sneak peek again. We talked about this the other day. Ernest and I are working on a really cool next level, we're calling it, but it's an evolution of these sessions where there's going to be a lot more organization around the content and everything like that. It's a little bit of a membership thing we're working on. So you're going to hear a lot more about that in the next week or two. But we'd like to not only just come on these sessions and talk about these things as we generally have, but we'd also like to give you follow-up and associated content that drills deeper into these concepts. And that's kind of the idea here with Next Level. So that's coming soon. And great. Well, if nobody has any other comments, definitely check out the replays at insiderealestate.com/webinars and insiderealestate.com/Facebook group. And we should be back next Tuesday. For the next session. Dennis saying he finds it hard to track down a session. Yeah, it is hard because, you got to go to the YouTube playlist. I will share a little tip before I go. I don't know if everybody knows you can do this, but if you go to the playlist and you hit Control F in your browser and search, this is how I usually dig up stuff when I need to find an old one, So I go Control F in my browser and I search Open House, and then I can find my Open House webinar. So maybe that'll help. Thank you, Brett. Got to get you on a few of these too. We'll talk about that. All right. See you, everybody. We'll be back Tuesday. Later.
Later.